Today we have with us Audi's flagship electric SUV, the e-tron 55 Quattro. So how about we tell you 15 reasons why you shouldn't buy one. Because you want your new car to shout it out that it is an expensive EV. This e-tron, it looks expensive, but in a very classy manner. Well, you get that green number plate, right? Other than that, the only touches here are these LED elements under the headlamp, which kind of connect with the grille here, which look like Venetian blinds if you ask me. I like that. Internationally on the e-tron, you get cameras instead of rear view mirrors, and you get special design for the alloy wheels which look futuristic, which we don't get over here. But you get yellow brake calipers. I'm kind of confused. Is yellow better than red? Red is like angry, intense. Yellow is playful. But yeah, wait. In terms of the techie bits, that's your charging plug right there at the press of a button. There's another one on the other side, which is the fast charger. Now, don't think of buying the e-tron if you have a small parking spot, because this is massive. Seriously, I mean, it's nearly 5 meters long. Underneath somewhere there may be a connection to a Q5, but here in the flesh, it's just plain big. I guess when you're this big, you don't really need to shout, huh? Don't buy an e-tron if you think electrics are all about being impractical. Massive boot space. I mean, if you want to go for the weekend with the family, no problem. You want to move house, just drop the middle row and that's it, you're sorted. And if you look underneath, some storage there, and you get a space saver as well. What about the most expensive bits which are sticking out under here? It's got plenty of ground clearance, and along with that, of course, you've got air suspension. So if you need, you can jack the ride height up and keep that battery pack nice and safe. You don't buy the e-tron if you want your electric to feel like it's from 30 years in the future, because this won't feel like that. However, Audis have been known to merge technology and classy design in a fantastic balance, making them really feel avant-garde and premium at the same time. And it's no different here, which is why you've got 3 screens in the cabin, but even then it doesn't feel like tech overload. For the more traditional style, you have this wood texture finish here on the dash, which looks fantastic. And you've got another innovation when it comes to gear levers. You know, you've got just a palm rest here and a little toggle here, not a little, actually a chunky toggle here, which you can operate with your fingers. It looks and feels really cool to use. You don't buy an e-tron because you like EVs and therefore do not like excess. But the e-tron, all 4 doors have soft close function, which means there are motors in them to quietly pull them shut every time you close them. And that's not all. Everything is practically powered, from the steering wheel to the seats, and you've got a panoramic sunroof, and you've got 4-zone climate control. So this thing is pretty much kitted out how any Audi would be, which is lavishly. One feature you will surely appreciate is the 360-degree camera, because the camera resolution is really sharp, so when you're parking in tight spaces, you'll be able to manage the size of this really well, because you'll be able to spot just exactly what's there. 2 ventilated seats nahi hai. Don't buy the e-tron if you're the kind of person who doesn't care about the back seat and how it treats the people who sit there, because this e-tron is, given its size, no surprises, but lavish in terms of the essentials, the space on offer. Even if you're taller, you're going to find you've got plenty of headroom here. Knee room is definitely not in short supply. Seats are nice and comfy, yeah. Spending time here, 4-zone climate control, 2 charging ports. While it works for me, some folks might still get annoyed in the backseat because this is quite upright. And compared to other cars in the crore club,
The feature list is a bit dry, especially at the rear. There are no gizmos, controls, or power anything. But hey, it's an EV.
Do not buy the Audi e-tron if you want something tame. Well, don't get me wrong, it can be very, very calm. Stick it in efficient and the throttle just dulls down. And along with that, this cabin is wearing a layer of fleece around it between the exterior body panels, which means inside this, it's really calm, really quiet. And with the Audi air suspension, it irons out the bumps that we get on Indian roads. But God forbid, if you were to switch accidentally into dynamic mode, you know what would happen then? Let me show you. Now this is what it feels like for a pro athlete, a sprinter who's getting off the blocks. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't go, it explodes off the line. Of course, it's got 2 motors, it's Quattro, it's got all-wheel drive, and makes sure it's putting as much of the torque down as is possible for the given surface. It's fast, yeah, it's fast. Do not buy the e-tron if you want to brag about it being lightweight, because at 2.5 tons, it's not. If you wanted to buy the e-tron to show the oil burners a thing or two, tread with a bit of caution, because this is fast.
It goes from 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds, which is really impressive considering how much it weighs.
But just for reference, the RSQ8 does it in 3.8 seconds. But nonetheless, this is crazy fast. So you would be able to outrun most of the vehicles out there on the road. But keep one thing in mind. This thing's top speed is capped to 200. So if you want to trounce the other EVs that are on sale in India, this would actually be outrun by the I-Pace. But the good news is, it would catch up because the I-Pace is also limited to, in terms of its top speed, to 200 kilometers an hour. Do not buy the e-tron if you're looking for this delicate, intimate driving experience through the corners. Because as we saw with the RSQ8 as well, which demolishes corners, and it's no different here in the e-tron, it just flies through corners. But it's not a delicate experience. It's monstering the corners, blitzing them, and it almost makes the driver feel like an accessory to the fact rather than a key member of that exercise. Can you drive with a single pedal only? Short answer, no. You do have 3 brake regen levels which you can operate via the paddle here. Tapping it once takes it to 0.03 Gs.
A second tap of the paddle takes the regen to 0.1 Gs. But to get 0.3 Gs of braking or higher is by stepping on the brake pedal. Coming to a stop using just the paddle would have been cool.
Do not buy the e-tron if you want to brag about the claimed range, because at about 400 kilometers here for the WLTP, it's not as much as its rivals. But I'll be honest, we've been driving this thing around since morning doing fairly silly things, and till now I've not been worried about running out of range. So for everyday use, even extended use, this would fare just fine. Do not buy the Audi e-tron if you want to take things slow when it comes to charging, because this is capable of some really fast charging. It's got a 22 kilowatt charger on board, and it can plug into a 155 kilowatt charger, which means it can get about 500 something kilometers of juice in an hour theoretically, which means you can really top up the range like that. The final reason you don't want to buy the e-tron is because you can't. Because you don't have the 1.5 crores required to buy one. But if you did, you'd find that this is an SUV that's, well, big, it's luxurious, it's classy, it's well appointed and very, very quick while being capable. Not just looking at it through the lens of an electric vehicle. What it means is it could be your everyday car, and convincingly so. But depending on where your sensibilities lie, this isn't the flagship that is transporting you into a fantastic future. For better or for worse, this is an Audi that's very much of today.